This is a close-up look of the actual mounting bracket that goes in the dash of the automobile. We've got the car stereo here. We've got the stereo faceplate and the decorative faceplate. And here's the stereo. We've got the back side of the stereo with the wires, and we've actually got where the wire harness actually plugs in the back of the stereo. The stereo, pull it out, it'll actually just have a wiring harness and actually a plug for the antenna too. This is Chris in Boise. In this video we're going to show you how to remove a car stereo from your automobile. And to make it a little bit more simple for you to understand and to understand the process of removing a car stereo, I got one right here that we've actually removed from a Volkswagen, and we're putting in a new stereo into the Volkswagen. And most car stereos nowadays actually come with removable faceplates, and I'm going to show you there's typically going to be a button on the faceplate itself, and to remove the car stereo from the automobile, the process starts by removing the faceplate. And the faceplate, you're going to push a button and the faceplate of the stereo actually just pops off. And then there's actually going to be a decorative faceplate that's on the stereo that surrounds the stereo that actually needs to be removed too. And there's two tools that you're going to be using to remove the stereo, and these tools right here are also can be used to remove the decorative faceplates. They have a little catch on them on the tool itself. As you can see, there's a little catch right here, and that thing can be used to put down inside the stereo itself and use to catch and release the faceplate. This faceplate is actually removable by hand, and it actually just snaps on and off. And so we'll be removing the faceplate on the stereo itself, and the stereo is going to be in the car just like this. The stereo is actually mounted by a bracket. This bracket here, it slides up, the stereo slides in and out this bracket, and this bracket is actually just inside the dash, and it has these little tabs that move up and down. These tabs are actually what hold that bracket actually in place in the stereo. Then the stereo itself slides into that bracket, and you can see that bracket slides, and the stereo slides into the bracket. It has these clips right here. There's clips on both sides, and those clips actually lock the stereo into place. Now the stereo won't move on that bracket now. In order to remove the stereo from the automobile, these little tools, these actually come with a brand new stereo. Every brand new stereo you buy, you'll take and slide that tool down inside, and that tool goes inside right here. It just slides inside this between the stereo itself and the actual mounting bracket, and it'll slide in, and it's going to just go straight in, and it's going to pop this clip up, and it's going to make the clip stick up in the air a little bit and get it out of its locking position. So they slide in, and once those things slide in all the way, that bracket actually, the faceplate will actually just slide right off. The bracket actually slides right off the stereo. And that's how this thing is the only thing that's actually holding the stereo in the car. This thing goes into the dashboard. These tabs, there's all kinds of multiple tabs, and these tabs will be pushed down in certain areas to actually lock this thing into place. Now your stereo is just going to slide in, and it locks in place just like that. Now you have a pretty good understanding of how the stereo is removed. It took me about an hour to figure out the first time how to actually remove a stereo. I didn't realize what these things were. I did some reading, figured it out. This is the only thing that releases that locking mechanism. Slides in the side, ready to go, unlocks it, and the stereo will slide out. Now I'll actually show you on a stereo in a car how to remove it. The stereo that we just showed you was removed from this Volkswagen right here, and we've actually installed the new stereo in the Volkswagen now, and we'll show you how to actually remove the stereo. This stereo has a removable faceplate, decorative faceplate also. It's got a push button that removes the stereo faceplate itself. If you don't have a removable faceplate, a stereo is typically going to have a couple knobs on the volume knob, and may have another knob, and these knobs will actually come off, and there'll be little nuts that you unscrew the two nuts, and then the stereo plate will come off, and it'll expose the face of the stereo. Now we got the face of the stereo right here. Now what we're going to do is just take these little unlocking gadgets. We're going to slide them in there, and it's going to release that faceplate, or it's going to release the stereo. Now the stereo actually will just slide right out. These things actually will just come right out now, and the stereo just slides right out. And there's all the inner workings of the stereo back there, and you'll actually, the stereo's plugged in with a wire harness back there, and this wire harness is pretty tight fitting, so I can't pull it all the way out, but you just pull the stereo out, unplug the wire harness, and you can install a new stereo. If the wire harness doesn't match, you're going to actually have to cut the wires off and install a new wiring harness. But the stereo will just push back in, and you can hear it snap, locks into place. You'll just put your faceplate back on, stereo faceplate, and then you just snap your decorative plate back on. And that's how you remove and reinstall